I just have a quick question.
Yes.
So, after you were liberated from the ghetto, you and your mother and sisters lived with another family.
Right.
And you did eventually end up going back to Polana.
Right.
At some point.
Right.
Can you describe how Polana was and
well,
what brought you on there?
It was terribly sad. We stayed in the next big city, not in our town, because there was nothing in our town. Our house was gone. Somebody was living in it. The things that my mother had were distributed all through the village. I mean, everybody took what they wanted or what they were able to put their hands on. And so we just didn't want to stay there. But amazingly enough, we used to have everybody who could afford it had somebody helping them, like a maid, but she lived with you. And if one of them stayed with you until she got married, and then she brought her sister to stay with you. It was a family
Enterprise.
Exactly. And my mother found out somebody had her a pair of candlesticks that she had gotten as a trousseau. And the people kept saying, well, we paid for it, it's ours now. But the woman who used to work for my mother testified to the fact that they belonged to my mother, so she was able to retrieve that. The other thing she was able to retrieve, she had a single sewing machine. And the sewing machine was a registered item, the same as you register a car here. Each machine had a number. And she had the book that had her certificate in it. And so she was able to retrieve the sewing machine. But she couldn't take it with her, so she gave it to somebody, one of the women who used to work for her. Other than that, there was absolutely no reason to stay. People were very, very worried that we are going to want our houses back. And it was too emotional to be. Also, there was a partition trying to see. Russia wanted to have that area annexed to become part of Russia, and the Czech also wanted it. And they left it up to the people to vote on it. The majority of the people voted to remain with Russia, because Russia was the one who liberated that area. But most of us who went back from camps did not want to remain there because it was a communist country, and none of us had any interest in remaining in a communist country. So that's when we went to Bucharest, and that's when we went to Czechoslovakia afterwards. I don't know what I can tell you. Just we found out that the joint distribution, because the Jewish organization was already very active in Romania, and you were able to get some money. So we packed up. One of my mother's brothers found us in Budapest. We packed up and traveled to Budapest on very crowded trains. At the border we had to smuggle, and my uncle had some money and paid off the people that were guarding the money. Money talked, no matter where you went. And so we got to Bucharest. They put us up in a hotel, they fed us, they gave us some clothes and gave us some money. And my mother, she was always a business person, she found out we were heading for Czechoslovakia, away from our part of the country. And she found out that there is no shoe polish to be had. And so she decided to, Bucharest was a little bit better off than Hungary or the other country. And so she decided to buy boxes of shoe polish for the money that she had gotten, to be able to sell it and have some profit. but it was very hot. And by the time we got to Czechoslovakia, it all melted. She said, you know, it was thin boxes. So that was the end of that adventure.